All right, good morning. We're going to begin the Commissioners' meeting for April 7th, 2025. We have a quorum present. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance to start the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have meeting minutes for March 17th. Any changes?
No changes.
I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we have the claims against the county and the voucher register. Anybody have any questions or complaints there?
No, sir.
Actually, I'm gonna hold off on that one. I did ask the auditor's office for a couple of
I sent them to you last night.
and they were sent to last night. I haven't had a chance to look at it, so we're gonna move on to payroll. Anybody have any changes there?
No, sir.
All right, I'm gonna move that we approve the payroll minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, we'll start with our highway reports, Mr. Lincoln.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, first of all, the White Stallion reclamation. I've been down there to the mine a few different times in the last couple of weeks. Everything seems to be going well. They were able to work on the North Pit slides, like they said, and it looked good. There was 2 seams of clay, 2 different types of clay. I mean, slick, very slick. I actually walked down there with them, and it was that's the reason why it was sliding so much. It's on the hillside, and so much water getting to that clay and just making the whole thing slide. So they had to dig all that out and just push it down in the lake, and then they put the big boulders in there, and then they filled it back up, and it should be good. We're
So
hoping.
is this on the very north rim or is this on the northeast?
Very north.
Okay.
Yeah, right against Portersville, intersection of Portersville West and 750 West. So right there where those slides were.
Okay.
So, and as far as everything else, it's
Any
going.
interactions with any of the homeowners in the area, the people that own that land? I mean, are they, I guess, do they just accept it's just gonna be?
Yep,
what
I
it
ain't
is?
been hearing nothing from any landowners, anything down there. One person sent me a text, picture of the big uke going down 800 West. He lives back in Hempsonville. He was a little concerned because there's a lot of tons going down that road. But, so by the time I got down there, they were ready to reroute it. And I said, yeah, we have a concerned citizen. He said, yeah, he said, I seen the guy outside his car taking a picture. He said,
Can't take it long.
And what was going on?
they drove a big uke
What's that?
with the boulders, a huge mine truck.
Yeah, a big dump truck.
Yeah.
It was in the
Big
middle.
belts.
Yeah. I mean, it takes, he had a truck, a pickup in front flagging traffic. So it's a wide truck. So, but anyway, so he said, he used the excuse that there was a tractor in the way and he couldn't get through. So he said, that's the only load we took around. If it was, I don't know, but we confronted him right away. And so they know people are keeping an eye on them. So, but every other time I went down there, it seemed like they're doing a good job and trying to stay off the road as much as they can. So, but and part-time help, we have 2 gentlemen working part-time for the summer. One will be mowing in the Jasper boundaries and a little bit further out in a couple of roads that are busy roads. And then the other one's spraying weeds. We're looking for one more sprayer guy. We did talk to a guy. He's supposed to give us yes or no this week as far as to drive around with the other sprayer guy so he can spray out the passenger window like we used to do, safety wise, instead of one guy trying to spray traffic coming through. Yeah, it just wasn't good. So So that's one thing, and the road paint. Let's see. I don't think I have to sign nothing for that one there. As far as our quotes, we had 59 roads and total of 69 miles that we're painting. Gonna be using 2,200 gallon of yellow paint and 440 gallon of white paint, and then 12,000 pounds of beads. I had quotes come in, the bids, and the lowest quote for the bid, or for the glass beads, went to Potter's Industry for a total of $6,000. And for the paint, it went to Jasper Industrial for a total of $31,360. So I would like to recommend Potter's for the beads and Jasper Industrial for the paint.
Have we used Potter's for anything before?
I believe we used Potter's last year.
Our bead supplier,
For the beads, yeah. Yep. So like to have your permission to go ahead and get those two.
Anybody have any comments on those?
No.
I'll move that we accept the low bids on the glass beads and the paint cost.
A second.
All right.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, then here is for the 5-year rotation plan for the trucks and machinery. So you guys can look through that. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. As far as that top one, it looks, $900,000, but that is $200,000 for sanitation trucks or truck. So that should be on sanitation, but that's on here, so.
As I drove by out there this week, is there a need for us to build, I know you should know this probably, but is there a need for us to build a building that's taller and we can put more of our equipment inside? Those, like, we have 5 pretty significant machines out there that are tall. I mean, is it worth us spending $100,000 to build a shed equipment?
It's nice, you guys need to put one up, but where? That's the thing. Because that room where you're at, where those stuff is, there should be other stuff sitting there. Pipes and things like that, so we're out of space.
Yeah, we're out of space, and then plus with if the corridor comes through, good chance we're gonna have to move anyway, right?
Correct.
But yes, if we have to move, we would love to add on and try to buy a few more acres. But with the corridor coming through, should we go and ask a few of the neighbors if they'll sell and go ahead and build, or should we just wait for a couple of years and see what happens?
My assumption is they're not gonna make us tear down, because that's a lot more expensive than going through the raw land next to it.
But it's not the property that, or where the highway department will be in jeopardy is where 162 and Schnellville and all that will connect into Mid-State, where they run that up onto the hill, because they're not gonna go to the houses. I still think it's gonna be in jeopardy, not where the corridor is, but where the addition to get to 162 to get to the corridor, because they're not gonna build an interchange where the Blue Bridge is, where it crosses. They'll figure where 162, 3rd Avenue, all that comes together, they'll find a way to get that up to the corridor.
So later this month, it's something I have down later on the agenda, we have a meeting, there's some meetings scheduled, so whenever I figure out exactly when they are, I know when it was, it was supposed to be like May 1st or something, or May something or other, and I said, it'd really be more convenient for us if we did it before, we've got some things happening here, and they weren't having it, so I don't know
We've got a
where
few
it was
dates.
talking about us taking on 231 or where those interchanges would be having some of those discussions, so hopefully we'll get some more information on that coming up soon. But I don't know. I don't know, keep it in mind, I wouldn't mind supporting, we should have done it a while back, we've updated a couple of buildings, but maybe it would be something creative, I don't know, if it's there, if it's not there. If that, if we can move the materials, I don't know what it would take.
Right, right.
But if you wanna look at it, if it's important to you, bring it back to us in a couple of weeks maybe, or 4 weeks, and we'll
Okay.
be open to it.
Okay.
As they've seen our very expensive
Right.
material equipment
No,
sitting out there.
You right there.
Did Steve not reach out to a landowner behind you at one
All
point?
around
Yes.
us.
Go with it.
Yeah, is it Agnes? Is that right? Yeah, but she did not want to sell.
Okay,
She did not. She was adamant about it. She wanted to give it to her grandkids, nieces, nephews, there's a relation, families, just put it that way.
that was a couple of years
And
ago,
then-
so
And then it just didn't go anywhere from there.
Okay.
So,
not saying that that's an option, but I do remember that conversation, so.
and that would be ideal. If we could, the mid-state would avoid it and we could buy 5 acres all around the outside of it and expand out in there, that'd be fantastic.
It's great where we're at.
Yeah, so
Central
location, perfect.
You talking further behind the recycling?
Go south and,
South and east, yeah.
yeah,
I think L shape.
yeah. 5 to 10 acres worth of land that you can really move on to.
For the last 8 years that we've been in the commissioner's seat, we've heard that they didn't want to sell, but I don't know that anybody's talked to them in that amount of time.
Correct.
In that 8 years, so Donnie, if you wanted to talk to the, I'd say especially on the other side of the following San Anthony
Mm-hmm.
or
No.
Road. If you want to reach out to somebody, if you one person,
Yeah, I think it should pass, but I'm not for sure.
It would be worth a phone call,
So,
so.
yeah.
put that way.
I'll reach
Yeah.
out
I
to
can find out
Steve
who it
because
is.
he
I know
made
somewhere
that
around there, it's like a trust or there's multiple owners.
contact at one point in time.
It would definitely.
Speaking of that, anything up to Du Bois? What's the situation up there, or that one? That little piece?
Hoping to build a building.
Yeah.
And was hoping to maybe this fall. So we need to get some prices on that. And
So right now you have Bridge Crew is set up that this fall they will have time as soon as we have 2 boxes we've got to get done while school's out of session this summer. Then they could go there and start building walls and floor and get the, what we say, 8 foot tall, what we were talking?
yeah.
Maybe
the
a
walls.
little taller,
Mhm.
and then put brackets on top of the Bridge Crew could build it and save you guys a lot of money.
That way we can hopefully get a lot of salt in it for next winter. Be ready. Hopefully we don't have as bad as winters we'll be this year and use so much salt, but it's always there just in case.
Another side.
So I know this
Makes
past winter
sense.
we had to struggle a little bit to get
Sure.
some more. Never did actually have to use it, but it was close. So, alrighty, next thing, the Du Bois County ITAP primary contact. We need a new contact since Brent is going elsewhere. So me and him decided to make me as the NDOT primary contact. So you have to sign those.
Anyone have any opposition to that?
No.
None.
So we'll just have the record reflect that we're changing our NDOT ITAP system representative to the highway superintendent. You're welcome.
And then, transfer of appropriations. They've been paving earlier, or they will be paving a lot earlier than we had anticipated. So we would like to transfer 13,000 from bituminous to paint. I'm asking for your approval.
Anybody have any problem with that?
No.
No.
I'll move that we approve the transfer of appropriations.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So I don't know if they did sign out there, so. And last but not least, high water signs. Of course, you've seen that this weekend we had a ton of roads that we had closed in the past several days. The temporary signs that we used to have, just little fold-up signs you put down next to the road. Back when I started 10 years ago, I'd say we had at least 35 of them. Each district went out with a pickup load and had to put them up. And now we're down to 4. People keep stealing them. I seen a couple of them thrown in the river. I guess they don't like, if they're up and if the cop sees them going through, they're gonna get arrested. Well, if they disappear, there's no sign up, so they can go on through the water. So I assume that's why they're stealing them, I don't know, but we've been going to flip signs in the last several years, or last few years. We can get flip signs, and they're very expensive, but we need to get more flip signs if we're gonna keep doing this. I know the state has a sign up down on Cayena Road, 64, Cayena Bottoms. It says something like, this road may flood or something like that. So I think they do actually have another one they put up closed, later on, but and then also other counties, they have signs that they don't even go around and put up high water signs, road closed, high water. They just put on there, this road may flood. Is that a possibility? It would save a lot of labor as far as people going out on weekends in the middle of the night and dispatch call them and say, hey, there's another road flooded. Go put signs up. It's a lot of labor. So I don't know if that's a thought too. So we're gonna ask around other counties, see what they do, see if it's legal to do that. Apparently it is.
So they're kind of done, yeah.
So we're gonna do a little investigation and see and we'll let you guys know.
Our most highly traveled roads and the ones that happen most often, we have the physical barriers. We have them on the Jasper Huntingburg Road. We got them on by Cherry, the Huntingburg, Kellerville. So, I think we've got the main culprits that are heaviest travel. We've got those already closed.
Mm-hmm.
So what, like if, we don't put signs on every road that's closed already.
We try to. Like this weekend, we didn't have enough signs, so we just went out and put cones in the middle of the road. Just have people aware that something's coming up. And people should think.
On Woods Bottoms there, that dirt road's like is it 250? I don't think we ever put anything there.
On dirt road, no, definitely not. But
Well, yeah, whatever you come up with will be fine.
Okay.
Radios, I guess.
We'll see if we, it'd be great if we could put signs up that, but like you said, the Kellerville Road, those main 3, we definitely leave those gates there and we can shut them. So, and then also if we get more flip signs, if we decide to go that way, but like I said, they are expensive.
And you still need the labor to go out and flip them.
Yes. Unless if the deputies would flip them whenever they go through and see them, but, so. We'll see once and we'll let you know.
Anything else for?
Nope, that's it.
No.
We'll take it.
Thank you, sir.
You guys are copies.
Okay. I didn't see that. That makes sense.
Okay. Community crossing paving projects 2501. I have the contract with NDOT. Yeah, here it is. For that, I emailed it to you guys a while back. If you want to see it again, I have it.
So if you guys are okay with it and approve it, then I will sign on your behalf via DocuSign.
I'll move that we allow the engineer to sign on our behalf.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. We will open those bids at 9 o'clock. After bidding, or after getting them, I'll review them. I got my probably laptop along, so I can try to input numbers, make sure everything worked out. And hopefully at the end of the meeting, if we got time, I'll make a motion to, or make a recommended to award to. If not, we'll wait till next week. Not the end of the world. It'd be nice to get it done, but if we don't, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
The next thing is countywide bridge inspection contract. So this is the same thing as community crossings. I sent that to you guys via email. If you're okay with it, then I will sign again on your behalf for that one as well. This one here is, their major contracts that NDOT has for these projects.
I'll move that we allow the engineer to sign on our behalf for this federal aid portion of countywide bridge inspection.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's all I got. This is just bid tap sheet.
Thank you, thank you.
Samuel.
Heather, are you just here as a guest, or did you have anything you wanted to introduce yourself?
No, I didn't mean to say anything, I just wanted to show my support of, what goes on here in Du Bois County and maybe learn a little bit, what we can take back to Clinton County.
Sounds great. Thank you.
I don't know that I'll stay the whole 2-hour agenda,
Oh, it gets more fun the longer we're here.
I like watching them.
Mr. Nortowski, do you have anything you'd like to say before we get on our next agenda item?
No.
I didn't know if you were. All right, sounds great. I didn't want to make you sit around for 2 hours if you had something you really wanted to get out.
I'm not gonna sit around for 2 hours.
Okay, sounds good. Well, it's always nice to have our guests here. So let's go ahead and move on to our next agenda item, soil and water contingency plan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For those who haven't met, I'm Veronica Holman, Executive Director.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
So we have been instructed by the Indiana Association of Soil and Water Conservation Districts to have contingency plans in place. So we currently are housed at the USDA building with NRCS, FSA, and rural development. We pay no rent, to partnership. With the changes within the federal government, that might change. So they might, we might have to find a place to go. So, and I know Ryan Craig has probably been in touch with you guys about what we've been deciding, but our contingency plan basically says that we would utilize the fairgrounds in the case we don't have a place to go for an office space.
Okay.
And you can read it over.
Okay. Let's do that.
Council,
We'll find out.
because the 4-H council has all these buildings, how do you?
So the idea is you think that the funding may go away, and if there's no funding, there's no rent, so you can't squeeze the space, you'll need somewhere else to go. That's the
Correct,
short
yes.
version, okay? The purpose is to develop a plan for relocation if requested to vacate. And who would make that request for you? That would be the USDA? Or who holds the
It'll be the
lease?
federal government via the USDA and NRCS. They actually control the space. This may never happen, but the state association has asked that all the conservation districts develop a contingency plan if it would happen. So, and this was the space that we had kind of talked about to see, even be it a temporary home until a more permanent solution could be discussed and approved. it does give space for the employees. I know my thought was, and I was on 4-H council many years ago, and obviously I know it's changed somewhat, but I know where the old bookmobile used to park on the hill there. That gives space for staff. It also gives space for the equipment. Again, be it maybe on a temporary basis, but if we are asked to vacate, it would be someplace we could go and figure out a more permanent solution.
So who have you been in contact with on the 4-H board?
We have not
We
yet.
talked to Ryan Craig
Yes,
about,
Okay, so Ryan Craig wouldn't have any authority to give you space out there.
he does not.
No.
He's our liaison from the council.
yes,
And so we came to you first. This is our recommendation, but again, we have not talked to council. We felt it was better to talk with you guys first, see if you guys had other options. We are open to options. This was just, again, something that, as Ryan is our liaison and those of us with soil and water thought, if that would be workable, it does give space and it's in an area and location where it's very accessible from the standpoint of our constituents and people that, our customers, in other words, people we deal with. So again, we are open to suggestions. This is a starting point. We need to come up with something to satisfy the state association in the event this would happen again. It may never happen. We don't know, but we need to have something in as far as a plan, if it would.
What kind of spacing are you needing? Like an office for 4 offices?
not even, it could be a conference room.
It would be sufficient space to house our staff. It would be nice if the staff did have separate offices, in my opinion, as we talk with customers. And again, it needs to have a space to where we have room for our drills. So there needs to be some outside space available for the equipment that we run. So
So as a plan, this wouldn't bother me in any way, but that being said, the county doesn't control who's out there. The county owns the property, but it's on they have 50 more years, 40 more years on their lease. So they would have Mr. Schneider would probably have to check our old contract with them to see what they can do as far as subletting. I know there is some subletting that is available on a temporary basis, so but I wouldn't know how that relationship would work. We'd have to check the legal agreement that they would have. So even if the commissioners, if we all said, we like the idea, go do it, we don't have that authority either. So I wasn't saying anything bad about Ryan Craig. He doesn't have the authority to give it, and we wouldn't either because we are under a lease with them.
right, we felt it was appropriate though to talk with you
No, I
first
agree.
as owners of the real estate. And then if you guys are agreeable to this contingency plan, then we would be happy to make a presentation with 4-H council.
No, I think that would be great.
Assuming legally it works out. Again, we had to come up with something. And as Ryan being our liaison from the council, that's again why we talked with him, just to get thoughts, ideas, as far as what was available in the county for space.
I think that's fine with me. What, Commissioner Hostetter?
Yeah, it'd be fine with me if they approve it.
And that's a discussion that we need to have. I'm on the board there, so.
Okay, right,
We'll
right.
have that discussion and we'll go from there. And like I said, or like Chad said, look up the lease and we'll go from there.
We don't have any parking available for their equipment, but the old EMA office in the basement, I don't know if that's being utilized. It is.
Prosecutor's offices, we've given it to
Backfilled
them.
already. Okay,
What's that?
I said it got backfilled already, right?
Yeah, so I mean, there's the,
I was gonna say that could be another option. I was just trying to think of an option that we do control.
the room right underneath us, they go, that gets used, and then,
Yeah, keep in mind, we need to have space for equipment, for
Right.
farm equipment.
Especially in like the summertime, people are coming and getting it, we have to inspect it.
So we need to have, hopefully a proximity that works well for not only our customers, but also staff, is what we were going for. And again, we wanted to come here first as owners of the real estate, get your thoughts, feedback. If you have other ideas, that's great. And then obviously go to 4-H council.
Sure.
So,
yep, so I think I'd be
Yeah,
fine
that's
to
fine.
move forward, stay in touch with maybe Commissioner Stefano, and he can probably guide you through that process.
okay, that
Yep, so no, thank you. Is there anything else?
That's it. Yeah. Okay, thank you. We
Thank
want
you.
to hope and pray that it does not go to the worst case contingency again. Yeah.
You can have
I have extra one.
Thank
We
you.
are, we are in uncertain times.
Pardon me?
We are in uncertain times.
We are, yes. So hopefully it'll,
It's been very stressful and I'm about to go on maternity leave too, so it's even more stressful.
yeah.
So it's,
Understand.
So hopefully it'll be better rather than the worst case. Again, we want to be prepared.
Sure.
either way. So,
Understand. All right.
thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I don't recall what the rules were, so I know we had a discussion several years ago about if they wanted to rent the property out for special events and have alcohol on property, we had a discussion on that. I would assume that if 4-H council wants to let them use any space out there, they want to.
That's a scheduled thing that we have to look at to see what they've got on the calendar. And I, of course, reach out to Chad, who's the president of the county council.
I know they use those buildings.
Well, and if they have, I don't know how that works out there, but if they have that building rented and their contingency plan, something happens that they do need to move, that goes rented there.
And if you put them any other building, then you're gonna have to build it out.
And as a temporary, it's kind of like we could tell them they could use the upstairs conference room, but if this would happen during an election, then that would work.
You're good for 9 months.
That room is used so much.
Oh, I know, and this is worst case scenario, Steve, but.
It's just we have nowhere to go.
Yeah, spaced out, that's for sure.
All right, let's go through some miscellaneous items. So here are some postcards that we've received recently. They have the save the date district meeting for the Indiana County Commissioners. The South meeting is in Spencer and Perry County on June 12th. Have that if you want. The next one is the Association of Indiana Counties 2025 district meetings. That's May 14th. I believe the auditor will.
It's in Huntingburg. If you want me to send in your reservations, I need to know.
So when we get those out, did you get my email on getting things out of the treasurer's drop box?
I brought it.
So
It's
that
that
was
bag right there.
Okay. So a couple things I wanted to mention, a couple thank yous. First up, on March 22nd, we had a water break on the second floor of the courthouse. It happened before 4 a.m. and the only reason we were notified was because the water, wherever it ended up running, it got into our fire suppression system and it tripped an alarm. Because we didn't have an alarm for the water break itself. So luckily for us, it screwed something else up that we did have an alarm on and we were able to get in here. So I came in at 4:15, the fire department, sheriff's department, city police, everybody was there because we had an alarm go off. They thought we maybe were having a fire, but we were really having a water issue. And so I wanted to just thank Scott Hof and in particular those law enforcement and fire department people, and also Amy Kippenbrock came in, the county clerk, and she was vacuuming up the water and we were trying to get everything cleaned up because some of it went through the floor, went into her office, went into one of the courtrooms. So long story short, it was very early in the morning. Scott Hof over that whole day. And over the next day, he came back, they brought in fans, they sucked it up, and by Monday, it was business as usual. So unless you saw there were holes in, seats were missing, people worked all weekend so that there was no disruption of business. So especially want to thank Scott and Amy on that. That's dedication. I guess Amy didn't have to come in that early for example. That was really nice. Also, last week, when the potential for flooding was coming, there was a situation set up where people wanted to come get sandbags. There was sand that I guess you guys work with them, right? With EMA, brought sand out to the 4-H fairgrounds. People could come out and get sandbags and be prepared for the weather event. And I want to thank them for their efforts, for one, but then I also want to thank John Goldsberry with Mulzer crushed stone because they donated all of that sand. They said, because I guess we went to pick it up. We brought it back, they could have billed us for it, and they sent us an email saying, don't worry about it, we understand that this is an event and they want to be good people in the community. So they gave us sand, they gave other communities sand as well. So, just another, what's that?
That was amazing. That was awesome.
Yeah, so want to thank them. Next, on the Duff Solar, since that project, since our last meeting, construction has begun at the laydown yard at the Center Point Station off of 650 West, south of 650 West. And there's going to be rock trucks coming in, placing aggregate in the area. So the remainder of the site is still being surveyed and staked. The construction team will start prepping road entrances, they said next week, so it probably was planned to happen last week with the weather, probably didn't, but there's just going to be continued activity for that Duff Solar project. So wanted to tell you that, well, for you guys and the community, that there's a lot of that going to continue to happen. Since a day or two after our last meeting, Chief Deputy Monterez and I met. He wanted to discuss the employee issues that we discussed. And I just wanted to tell you that I did have a good discussion with him, talking about the positions that he requested again. I think he wants to meet with me again this week, so just going to try to figure out with that. So continue that process. Don't get too comfortable. You come on up. All right, next up we have a discussion on Next Gen 911 update and a grant with the 911 director and
So Stuart Wilson from Du Bois County 911, and I'm here at Sean Scott's prompting from WTH, who's our main point of contact for WTH mapping. He spoke to me briefly and then sent a proposal that I forwarded to you about a proposal for some grant-funded work that WTH would complete to bring us up to the newest standard for Next Gen 911. I know that you replied with some contract additions that needed made, Chad, and I forwarded those to Sean, and I hadn't seen them back yet.
I've sent them to
So I guess we're waiting on their legal department. I know we can't really take action until that's in place, and I'm sure both of us recognize that. This is a way
we could handle that is we could say we would approve contingent on those items being added if the board is okay with the remainder of that.
I mean, the important part is it keeps us at that most current Next Gen standard. It funds it without any tax dollars going to it. The grants are available through the state GIS office that pays for WTH to do this work. This is a continuation of work that we did that began in 2019 that was also grant funded to take us to those Next Gen 911 standards. And it just has to do with the accuracy, some address layer changes that are probably more complex than what I understand. But there is a NENA standard, which is the national organization for 911 centers, that this brings us up to again. So we were there with the 2019 project, and then this project is a continuation that takes us to a 2022 standard that exists now. So in my opinion, it's very important. We use this map every day, all day. Every single 911 call that comes in, this is a map that we use, the information on there. Sean, there's a lot more to it. He's a lot more knowledgeable. He's more the product expert than I am. I'm more the user level. So I'll let Sean speak.
One of the things that the federal standard has raised since the 2019 initial project, and actually then it was more of a state standard, and now it's going on a national standard. State of Indiana decided to go with a specific 911 system, and there's language. The computers have to talk back and forth, and these are features that are within that. One of the things that's kind of an addition to this newer standard is elevation. Before this was created, the 911, your phone was connected to a phone line, which is connected to you.
Sure.
So what's the location emergency? I'm here at my house. Well, now that's not the case. So now it's a GPS thing. Now we're talking about an elevation thing. Are we on the first floor, second floor, third floor? It's getting that complex. And then they've added some additional features to that. So We do have the contract to our legal department right now. I talked to him on the way here. He said 2 hours it should be done. They were going to just take all your provisions you sent, throw them right on top of ours, but there were multiple ones that overlapped that were already the same. So he's like, I really don't want to just like say, see Exhibit A. So we'll have that, and I'll probably have it back over to you here before you guys close out here the other day. The other thing that's nice about this one versus 2019, no match. And we do the grant. So we submit it, we'll run it through, it's funded in segments, so kind of like buying a house. We'll get funded an initial part up front. As we get halfway through, we'll receive another, and then when we get at our threshold of their perfection, 90% accuracy, then we'll get them to finish. We have 1 year to complete it. And the one thing that's really unique about DuBois County is that you're actually in a pilot program through this 911 project. And so the states, we've kind of got you ahead of everybody else. There's a portal now. Everything has to go to a portal. And so you are in that portal. What's it been, about 2 years, Sandy, that we started doing this next level where you were selected, I think it was. Yeah, but so like I said, you have been selected one of about 9 in the state of Indiana. So that's kind of exciting. So this is actually called where it's a gap. We're just getting you to that current standard. So.
Would it be your recommendation, Mr. Wilson, that we approve this
Absolutely.
based on the addition of those contract items that we have required by order?
Correct, and I'm sure Sean will get that over today or briefly. If we,
Yes,
yes, if you're still in,
May I see the document?
Yeah, the original proposal.
Yes.
if you're still conducting business, which is certainly possible, I'll send it by email as soon as we receive it. So we may be able to get it done yet today, depending on the board's decision.
Mr. Schneider, you have any issue with us doing it that way? That we sign the document contingent upon our items being added?
I would say as long as the appropriate motion is made to that effect, that's fine.
Anybody on the board have any opposition to that?
No.
So do you want us to sign a wet copy if that's what we're doing?
If you want to, you can sign all those 3. I'll have the provision attachments within the next couple hours. But I won't pick it up until you guys give the lessons.
And then,
Sorry,
has that language been exchanged already? I was in a conversation.
Was what exchange?
Our terms, our language was.
Yes, I provided them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what's submitted. Okay.
You want us to have 2 copies, you can have a copy, or wait, or they can send you a fully executed one at the end?
He could send me a fully executed one. I have it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But you can send me a
After
fully
Rex signs
executed one
it,
and everything's
yeah, after
done.
Rex signs it, then I would send it back.
Is the board okay with moving forward that way?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we approve the contract proposal here with WTH contingent upon the addition of our required contract item.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried.
So when you get it, you're gonna let him look at it, make sure, or
Yeah, they're gonna email it to me, I'll email it to
Yeah,
Stuart.
I'll forward it to the group and you, Greg, the commissioner, but I'll just, I think there was a group email that started, that kicked it off,
Just
so
make sure you
I'll,
get it to Greg.
we'll do.
Anything else, gentlemen?
You guys have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I
Really
appreciate you
appreciate it.
keep improving the system.
And like I said, everything's got a hiccup to it. I know we've run into things with the web map, and fortunately, you guys got a lot of people, and I should have brought that today. We have statistics of all the people that view your map, where they're viewing it from, if it's a cell phone, if it's a laptop, desktop, whatever. And I'll submit that to you, and you can maybe see it. It's kind of interesting to see where people are looking at, and definitely counting that from, so.
Speaking from 911, WPH has been a really good partner. They're incredibly easy to work with. Sean and any of the staff there. They've really been a big help. We had a major project when we did our move. We had a lot of changes. We're constantly making changes to our methods of operation. And we do pay a substantial amount of money for that, for that support. But we are, I feel like we're pretty well treated as a customer. So I'm very happy with WTH and the services that we're receiving, just so the board knows my stance. There's a lot of competing products out there, but our maps compared to surrounding counties are just light years ahead of the data that's there, and WTH is a good partner in getting us there. So they're great to work with.
The county in a whole, we have so many good customers here from St. Henry. Water, when I tell people about St. Henry and how small it is, but yet how big it is, Huntingburg and Ferdinand, they're always competing back and forth with who can have more. They've been a great customer. Of course, Patoka Lake and DuBois Water, the county highway department, what he does with all the road work and all that is really impressive. We like to show that off a lot. But there's so many different entities here. We even picked up Lake Hummer because they were using the map all the time as a private. Your lots, who paid, who hadn't paid, trying to figure out who owned, and it was difficult because half of the complex is in Pike County and half of it's in DuBois County, but they're both customers, so we worked a data sharing agreement out. So we have a combined DuBois Pike County map for Lake Hummer, so they can tell who is the current owners of all those properties, and they do kind of some stuff there. So it's pretty exciting. Of course, I love it because it's only 15 miles from my house. So you're my favorite customer to come see.
All four of those, appreciate your time. That's all I have
with that if you want.
With WTH. I would probably have some discussion, or would like to contribute some discussion on the credit card travel limit discussion, unless that's already happened. And then I have some surplus.
Let's talk about it right now. We have 10 minutes until we open bids.
Okay. So my department's the reason that's on the agenda.
No, you're not the only one.
I know, I'm not. So what we were trying to accomplish that we ran into the roadblock on is in June, we have a Caliber Public Safety, which is our main software vendor for computer aided dispatch. They run a user conference every June. And we're trying to send 3 people, not me, 3, our assistant director and then 2 of our shift supervisors to go to this user conference. So I called the auditor's office to reserve the county credit card to pay for the hotel stay. There's some small amount of meals, but the issue that I was wanting to put on the card is the hotel stay. Well, earlier in that same month, some other county department has it reserved and is going to charge some substantial amount on there, and there's not going to be enough funds available under the current limit for my employees to be able to charge their stay. They're only staying 2 days. It's not a large amount. It's downtown Indianapolis, so the prices are not great. And then there's the extra fees because there's no parking and they have to valet park or do things. We're struggling to find the right reservation right now, but no matter what, if there's a hotel that's more than about $75 a night, we're not going to be able to cover the stay. So that's not going to happen. I know that at times checks are available. That is difficult. I've been turned away with a county check before myself at a hotel. So I know that is an alternative, but I don't know that that's really always workable. We had a more recent stay where we couldn't get the card. I tried to use my personal card to pay for the stay, and they would not recognize the tax exempt and allow me to pay for that stay because I'm not the entity. So, there's some roadblocks there, and I would just, I'm not really sure what our alternatives are other than an increase in the limit. We can try a check, we can try to get pre-approval. When I was turned away with the check, I had gotten pre-approval, and then there was a management change at the hotel. And by the time I go to check in, the manager said, no, we're not taking the check. So I don't know that that's good alternative or workable all the time. And that's really about all I have. We're just-
Okay, what was our part of or the county's part of the discussion? That, is it just that our credit limit is X, we wanna make it X plus something?
Currently, you guys have $2,000 credit limit.
Okay.
You have 4 or 5 people that stay at $200 or $300 a night. We have to constantly try to make sure it's paid off before the next people can take it.
Is our credit card, who's it through? Is it through a local bank? So,
We have 2. We have one that we use for purchases,
Right.
which it gets used quite a bit, and then this one's just for travel. And like I said, we try to keep a calendar of who's checking it in and who's out, and we also have to watch the limits because it has to get paid off, otherwise they're gonna go and they're gonna say,
Can we raise the limit?
So that's my question, is if I can raise the limit.
so right now, if, let's say another department has $2,000 used on it, they reserve it for June, but they're reserving it today. Does that take away the limit, or do they only?
It's usually when they go.
It's just that time.
That building
So
cycle.
if you have an overlap is when it would,
And that's what's happening with this particular stay in the middle of June. There's
Somebody else
another
is
stay
staying
at
in
the
June
beginning
as
of
well.
June that's in the same billing cycle. Secondly, and I would defer to Sandy's opinion on this, there have been times where I've tried to reserve the card and it's not available because some other department has the card for that same time period. It definitely shut us down on being able to use the card previously because we had, I don't even know what department it was. It
Now,
doesn't really matter, but it was already reserved for that
Sure.
date. But
and I've
that's
also had people
Sandy's
who
demand.
do any pre-planning, they get to a hotel and they call me and they wanna use the card. And then I gotta go through the,
And that's how we got through the last
with the
payment,
hotel.
when it wasn't available, when they wouldn't take my funds. We called, they emailed a credit card authorization form. Stacy in the auditor's office completed the form. It took about 4 phone calls, probably an hour and a half of my day when I should have been in class was spent dealing with paying for the hotel stay. And I mean, it's frustrating. That's not why I go out of town. I go out of town to benefit the department, to learn, not to spend an hour and a half of the training day trying to fund my stay in the hotel.
so do you think raising the limit alone will solve most of the problem?
Sounds like it would be nice to have more than one.
The thing is managing these number of credit cards is also an issue.
Yeah, but
And you guys want, every time they come and pick it up, they gotta sign a paper, every time. If I have his signature on file for a year, it would be nice to say, okay, we have you already. It's just it is time consuming to manage them as well. But you don't want them just out there because that's a risk for the county.
So do you have a recommendation, or you want us to come up?
Well, I'd like to raise the limit.
By how much? Double it?
Well, I thought maybe go to 5 instead of 2.
I thought we start there, see if that can get done, and if there are other recommendations you can bring, because you know how the process works better than we do. I think I'll take your recommendation on process improvements, but as far as the credit limit, I'd be okay with moving forward with increasing it somewhat.
So I would, the same.
I would agree with that. Start there.
Okay,
It
just so
gets
we
us
have
through,
another-
It's a start.
it
I
gets
mean,
us
we
through the
have to-
current
Stuart,
issue.
you know how many other counties do it?
Some counties give every department a credit card.
Department
Well,
head.
that is-
that seems
That is
like-
the most common.
Then we
I don't-
have a lot of risk out there.
There is a lot of risk involved. I don't support that 100% either, because then that's a management and admin. So Sandy's complaining how difficult it is to manage it. I don't want to have the difficulty of managing it either. I do recognize her,
'Cause it's not
her
only-
opinion.
It is a risk.
It is.
It's not only them taking the card, it's getting their thing back to us, getting the claim back to us, and us getting it paid on time.
A majority of counties, when I go to a conference later this month, the majority of the 911 directors there will have a credit card that is for their department from their county. It's not a huge majority, but it is a majority.
Sure.
There are other people that are doing it the way that we're doing it. There's other people that are still trying to find a way to get by with checks. There was a lot of other people using personal funds to pay for it, but the hotels have just really stopped that because of the fraud involved with people trying to get tax-free.
Even with the tax exemption letter?
They do not care.
But the
They will-
tax
they-
exemption
they will
letter is
not-
for the entity, not for the individual.
Embassy Suites as a chain will not allow that to occur. And one of our state level meeting spots is at an Embassy Suites now. You think, well, just stay somewhere else. Well, then you're not staying at the conference center. It's in Noblesville, you gotta travel, it's gonna be expensive. You know, there's a lot of downsides to not being there. It's a nice place, but they won't allow, they will not run the transaction. I've done that before. I've been doing that for years as a county employee for probably 25 years. When I would go out of town, I would just bring my receipts. I would take tax exempt with me, but the hotel chains are not allowing that to occur.
I think $5,000 for risk I can accept. Right in the county,
I think that's
unit
where
of
we
our
would
size.
start.
So I'll move that we give the auditor permission to raise the credit limit not to exceed $5,000. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye, motion carries. So that'll be a place we'll start.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I have surplus items that probably don't need any other discussion. I didn't have any takers. It was sent out to everybody just so you know the printers. I had a little bit of interest and then it was decided that it wasn't going to work for whatever reason. And I just need to get rid of them.
Okay, no, we'll deal with that a little bit
Okay,
later. Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, so earlier we didn't approve the claims against the county. So I've now reviewed those and I'll move that we approve the voucher claim. Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So at our last meeting, we've got just a couple minutes to do the bid openings. We discussed again the meeting room recording equipment. And it was decided I would reach out to that company, BIS, and ask for an updated solution from them. And I believe Commissioner Hossetter had asked for, the quote that we had was one camera facing this way, 7 microphones, and that was the extent of it. You had asked, could we have one on just one on that person? I did make that request. I didn't hear back from the gentleman for about a week, and then he said, yeah, he would get something, but I still haven't heard back. I haven't gotten an updated quote. So they are, yeah, so I guess that's about it, really, that I have looked into it. I got with him immediately, and he had been pretty adamant about saying, did you make a decision? Did you guys talk about it? He was very good about following up, and now that I wanted something, it seemed like it's taken a little long. But I will reach out to them again and tell them that he's missed this opportunity, but on 21st, maybe we can have something from them to discuss. So if you don't mind rolling that over on the agenda, please. All right, it's 9 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and do we have 2 things scheduled for 9 o'clock. One is the community crossings matching grant bids for the highway department. We also have some comprehensive plans that we've accepted. So we're gonna do the community crossings matching grant interviews first.
Okay, we have 3 bids: CalCar Paving, E&B Paving, CNR Construction. First bid I'm opening is from CalCar Paving.
You said it's just those 3 firms for all?
That is correct.
Okay.
Bid is in the amount of $1,607,946.30. 1607946.30. All items seem to be in place. Second bid will be from CNR Construction. bid is in the amount of $1,619,398.00. 1619398.00.
Yes, they are.
The final bid we'll be opening is from E&B Paving. That bid is in the amount of $1,666,900. 1666900.00.
A little, maybe, get back to you guys. You guys can see me. I'll get the bids out of the rest of it, I usually do. If that's okay?
Yeah.
That sounds good, thank you. So the fourth bidder, I thought they had somebody here and,
They did have one bid.
okay. Do you know a reason for that?
I don't, I found it very interesting.
So what did you say, you're gonna review these, you're gonna make them available for review and then?
Well, they also did, I send them bid tabs of every line item, what everybody's prices were. And I usually try to get on the next day, so they're always going to wait for those.
Okay, sounds good. And will we make a decision on these today or?
My hope is to have something for you here in a little bit.
Okay.
And all of these are already.
Those were all in on time. That's how
That's
it
all
was
these.
just now.
So next, we're gonna do the comprehensive plan proposal openings. The request that we had for the companies consisted of, I believe they were supposed to provide us 5 bound copies for our review. They were supposed to have some pricing and, they were supposed to be in here by 8 AM this morning. The top FedEx box, I don't know who the company is, but it, apparently arrived just at 9 o'clock, so it would be late. I was gonna ask the board before we looked and saw who these people were. One company mailed it with, I think it was FedEx, and I had it was a digital copy, electronic, so I have an email that takes us to it. And they were having it delivered, and it said they were gonna try to deliver it on Saturday, but we're not open on Saturday. So we have a thing that says, hey, it's rejected, we'll send it in again, or we'll try to deliver it again today. Do we want to accept these? I think the rules of the RFP would say we can choose to accept or deny any of them that we wish. Are we going to count them sending a digital copy as being timely, or do we want to consider it has to be timely and they have to have the paper copies here to be timely?
So it did arrive on Saturday, but they were unable to deliver.
There was an attempted delivery by the UPS or whatever FedEx
In
person.
that case, I would choose to accept it because it should have been here.
So
Had we
that,
been able to receive it, it wasn't our, but
so that one was the Thomas Miller Associates. That's one that was the Saturday. And I'm not sure who this one is. So let's open that one. Let's see what we've got there.
this is a Saturday.
It said that too? Okay. So part of me thinks if they aren't able to be responsive and not do the work until I mean, I was talking to people on Friday about this. It's like, if they're gonna wait till the last minute to even turn in their proposal, because that's it.
I think our neighbors do that a lot too. I'm not sure why, but I noticed a couple of them walk in this morning and ready to take a long time. But
So does Lee, you think if there was an attempt for delivery prior to the 8 o'clock today, you think count them?
I guess if we would have been in the office on Saturday, they would have been on time.
You have any problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem with that.
That's fine. We can still take it into account that they were last minute people if that's something that's important to us. So let's just look at who we have.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Schneider to just name the company that turned in a request, or a proposal for us, and he'll probably say where they're from, and then we can hand them out.
Yes. Okay, so, we received an RFP here from RJL Solutions. They have offices in Indianapolis, Terre Haute, and one coming to Evansville in 2025, it says. I will point out that these are probably a little bit different than opening up a paving quote, where you know where to look for the number, so, we'll do that, and then we can take them under review for this week.
Lee, do you think you'd be able to help? Hey, Don, would you be able to help Greg with those, and then maybe when he opens them, separate, and that way we can have a file for each commissioner? Because there's different bound copies in each one. Thank you, I appreciate that.
We also received a comprehensive plan, RFP from American Structure Point. With main offices in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And we'll keep the envelopes too, just for a record of when they came in.
We also received a proposal from Planning Next out of Columbus, Ohio.
Keep one of them, with this, with each mailing. Yeah. That would have been.
Received a proposal from Veritas Group. The principal office in Indianapolis, Indiana.
You say it was Veritas or Veritas?
Veritas, Veridus Group. Just because that's what I said doesn't mean that's how it's pronounced. Received a proposal from Taylor Seeger Williams Design Group. Offices in Indianapolis and Louisville.
Can you say your name again?
I will do my best. Taylor, Taylor, Siefker, Siefker, Williams Design Group. They may be partnering with BS Engineering and CWC Latitudes. Those logos are also on the packaging or the proposal. County's received a proposal from HWC Engineering. Their location is not Indianapolis, Indiana. Proposals from Rundle, Ernstberger Associates out of Indianapolis. If it came with a thumb drive or something, we're gonna leave it with the original envelope. And then this was the first overnight Saturday delivery. Expected Saturday, 11 a.m. This proposal is from McKenna out of Northville, Michigan. Is their headquarters. Comprehensive plan for Du Bois County, Michigan. That are all the proposals that we have.
So I'm assuming we are going to get another one. There wasn't one from Alceo Levine, I guess, that we have, right? That doesn't sound familiar. And they sent one electronically, and that was another one, I believe, that they attempted to deliver early, but we'll find out. So how about this? We'll take these, each of us will get a stack. We will, I would assume the best thing that we could probably do is have the three of us grade them. Maybe I'll come up with a grading sheet of some sort. And we will also maybe find a fourth person to review those. Do you have any suggestions on who would be a good person to be another set of eyes on it?
Or the council member.
Get a council member to look at it, that'd be good, I think. So We'll do that. We can just hold on to them until we get a grading sheet. We'll try to grade them. Does that sound like a plan? Wheeler's here for Sultan's Run right-of-way dedication.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Phil Bueller with Grossman Land Surveying and Engineering, here on behalf of Sultan's Run Golf Club LLC. As you mentioned, we are here for acceptance of the right-of-way dedication for Meridian Road.
Mr. Wendell, have they been with you on the road?
Yes, they have.
Entrance cut and all that?
Yes.
So what we have going here is, I have, so 2-sheet plat, I have it on a single sheet right now. But there's approximately 9 1/3 acres that Sultan's Run would be transferring to Chris Treader. Chris Treader, the manager, he would be the one signing the plat, but his intention is to purchase this acreage, lot number 1 of Sultan's Run's first edition, in order to construct a residence on this piece of property.
And all we're doing is accepting the right-of-way for the road?
That's right. So Meridian Road here is a county road. But we're in the jurisdictional limits of the city of Jasper. So we show on here a 50-foot right-of-way dedication. If you recall, just to the north was Sultan's Lodging and Entertainment, which you guys did the same thing. That's when Chris was talking about putting that simulator restaurant up there, dedicated a 50-foot right-of-way, which is directly to the north. That's where basically that goes from here all the way up to the entrance, which you can see on the aerial. You can see the entrance to Sultan's Run. So that got platted. Previously, you accepted a 50-foot right-of-way based upon an NDOT classification of.
So this will continue?
Correct.
That's all we'll do? That's
That's it.
right away, and this house is gone?
That house is gone, those buildings are gone, the house is gonna go back there.
And the new driveway's here? Is that where?
Well, there actually was an existing driveway that I believe he is planning on using.
Okay, but there was one here.
Yeah, I believe there's another.
Right, looked like that was.
And it could be. But the existing driveway is what he's planning on using. We dedicated 50 feet to match the right-of-way dedication that there was to the north. So that's why we were here today.
Why did we do 50 instead of 60 there? Don't we typically do 60?
Well, that's a half width.
Oh, okay.
So 50 times 2 would actually be 100 because
Okay.
if you look, yeah.
I didn't realize it was a half. I just assumed that was.
It's 50 feet, just like what's
So why are we doing 50 half that, or this way then?
City jurisdiction.
Well, if you, NDOT has a, and I forget the formal name of what their roster is, but they have like roads such as this that aren't on the city of Jasper's roster of local streets or minor arterials or major collectors or whatever. The state has the same thing. And they have, Meridian is classified as a step or two above the local, which would be a 30-foot, 30 times 2 is 60. So they have a higher classification just based upon the volumes.
So Du Bois County would have a minimum, their minimum, and the state's minimum is higher than that, so we have to go with that.
Not saying that we have to, but we did, and so we matched what we did for the subdivision to the north.
Mr. Wendell, is there any reason
Our
why we
ordinance-
want to accept the right of way?
Our ordinance says a minimum of 60 feet. The fact that they're giving us 50 feet is great because for construction wise, clearing, we have to raise it, lower it, widen it. It's already done.
We're getting 20 additional feet.
Yes, it's a benefit of us.
I'll move that we accept the right of way as been presented.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. So there should be 4 Mylars and 3 papers.
Okay, I'll trade you this.
So I can just, and Sandy needs to sign, so I can just kind of get this. If that works.
Whatever works for you, we probably will sign them right now.
I'll just hang around.
That might be easier for us.
Save you time in the long run.
No time like the present.
There he is, but he's majority of the
Three.
So this guy.
I need you here.
No, that's when they record.
So this in here.
And all these you know.
These are all for me.
Yeah.
Are you on this one?
Somebody else had different ideas coming in, I bet, I'm sure.
No.
Hey, if you help us find somebody, we can know what you're doing. Yeah, because they go through you first.
Can we slide this on the top? And
How are you, sir?
I'm well, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. Good.
Thank you for taking care of this.
The last one with Mr. Flintholt, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oops. God, don't use that. Chad needs that.
What was it?
Oh, yeah. Mike,
You said once and eight years.
Mike used that 19.
Oh, Sharice, you missed one here.
Oh, I missed a couple. I haven't got that far yet. Keep them stacked up and then I'll go from there. I just figured we'd go through all the
Oh,
papers.
with the minute points in front of the trust.
Not only sign.
Sandy, you sign this one.
Like, that's not, that's when they record it. I sign over here.
So there's just a one line.
Just one line.
Is this the horseman? Correct.
He's been trying to take care of that situation. It just hasn't. Trevor has been trying to get rid of the situation, and it just hasn't.
Material left.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's been an eyesore at times.
There you go.
Is that it?
You got all 7,
Okay,
or 6, or however many.
I'll check.
Welcome to it.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Trev.
Next up, we have Russell Freeman, grass on roadways and discussion. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good deal. Glad to be here. Okay, just want to let you know I'm here to try to establish an ordinance. Hopefully that ordinance will stop having grass blown on the roadways. And what that does is cause motorcycle accidents. Hopefully that will end it. I talked to Sheriff Kleinhelter and he has agreed we should establish it so they can enforce it. Okay? the grass, when you go on there, is 85% water, which makes it slick, almost like ice. That's what happens. You get on there, especially on a curve, and you're gonna slide off. Now, so far in this county, there haven't been anybody killed. Had a couple of minor accidents years ago. But there's still a lot of guys out here that want it gone. And I've got this here. These signed for people who want this done. If you want to look at it, you can.
How many do you have? Signatures?
I've got some pictures. I don't know where my third one is. I've got several of them on my telephone, but if you can look at these, there's a couple of them. I have a neighbor who does it all the time. Matter of fact, back in 2019 is when this was established. And it's a resolution is all it is. It doesn't stop people from doing it. It asks them to, but they don't stop it. My neighbor, I gave this to him. I talked to him before this was established. He didn't, he said no. I gave him this. He just kept doing it. He's been doing it every year since then. You can look this over if you want, but
So what do you think, in your opinion, is an ordinance would have come along with it a penalty for breaking the ordinance? What do you think is an appropriate amount of a penalty for someone, or what would you like to have happen in this case? If I was your neighbor and I was doing this, first time a warning, second time a fee of $50, $100, what are your thoughts?
yeah, it's possible you have to pay for it, and it's also possible you could end up in jail, depending on how bad things happen. But that would be through the sheriff's department, because it'll be on the county road. It won't be on the state highways or anything right now. But as a matter of fact, Shane Lindauer, I sent him the information on all this, trying to get it established at the state level. I've not heard back from them yet, but they said it probably won't happen at least till next year. They're supposed to let me know if he's gonna go ahead and do it. But hopefully that's what'll happen, because it's just, if you get on the internet, you can find so many places everywhere across the country, and even in Indiana, where there's so many problems with this going on. And as a matter of fact, Perry County has an ordinance that stops it. I have not been able to get any of the counties around us to find out if they have them yet. But there's a lot of issues going on all over the country. And if you go to, let's see here, 44 News, WEDV.com, they've got a thing on there that they put on there in 2013 or 2023 that explained what happened in Evansville. So there's a lot of issues going on all over the place. 20 to 25% of all motorcycle accidents are because of this. And there's approximately 6,000 people being killed in motorcycle accidents throughout the country. And a lot of it is because of this. So hopefully you can get this ordinance established, and hopefully it'll help them stop.
Mr. Schneider, you do some business in Perry County. Do they have their ordinances and things online?
They do, I just pulled one up.
So here's my question. I don't remember, Commissioner Husker, you may remember, in 2019, you brought this up, and you maybe brought it up previous to that, but that's when we took action.
Yeah.
And so the discussion was, should we do an ordinance, should we do a resolution? And I think the majority of the board thought that a resolution was the better proposal. Do you remember why that was instead of the ordinance? I don't remember what the rationale was.
I think some of us, depending on situation, we don't want to put somebody mowing in danger either. Mowing with traffic. I know where I live, I'm on the highway, people go by 60 miles an hour. I have my back to traffic, and I do mow inward, just because I'm aware, but it does scare me a little bit. There is one area where my grass will blow on the road. I always go back and remove it. But, there's a brief period there where it's gonna be on the road. There's no way for me to avoid it other than not mowing.
Yeah.
So I think there was just kind of the thought that there were other situations, and, I don't know if there's a study that we could refer to. Everything I've seen on grass clippings on the road is somebody saying it's dangerous. It's not, and I'm not saying it's not, but I haven't seen any actual study data that shows me that, this is an issue. So.
Yeah, like I said, if you get on the internet, there's a lot of it there. So, and I've had a lot of people that I know that drive motorcycles have taken those out and given them to people that they found, but nobody wants to do anything with it. They just keep blowing it on the road. So hopefully we can get that stopped.
I believe I favored moving forward with an ordinance last time, and I would still be in favor of it. I believe one of maybe the arguments was that there's already a state law that says you can't put dangerous material on the road. They'd make it more broad than just grass clippings. And I think maybe the argument could have been that if the law enforcement isn't enforcing the existing state law, why would they enforce a local ordinance? I think my thinking today still would be, I don't think that it hurts anything to have it on the books to, if a person like Mr. Freeman has a complaint and the person just puts half a road's worth of grass on there, that law enforcement and the neighbor again says, I'm not touching it, but heck, whatever. It would give law enforcement some teeth, something to threaten with. So I guess I would still kind of feel that way. If you put something hazardous on the road, civilly, you're probably already responsible, but this would make it a criminal offense as well. Is that right, Mr. Sharon? Or does it not work that way?
Correct.
That works that way, okay.
Well, I guess the ordinance enforcement, we would be able to fine and do things of that nature. I don't know that we have any ordinances that can get us back to the level of incarceration.
Yeah. So how would this work? Would the sheriff be able to write a ticket to enforce the ordinance?
Yes.
Basically,
an ordinance, a citation of some kind that could issue a fine, and I guess repeating it over and over could end up in either in front of this board or across the street at the courthouse.
So when they violate, they get warned, they do it again, they get a fine, they do it again. Accelerate.
I think we could set it up in a way that, it steps up.
I guess we don't have a state helmet law.
No, not yet. And like I said, they're gonna try it to see what he'll go ahead and try to do it, but it won't happen till next year. Because they try to establish things a year ahead of time and then bring them up.
So they're working on a helmet law as well?
Pardon?
A helmet law?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wonder how many of these fatalities may have been prevented.
That's been out for a long time.
People been wearing their helmets.
We did have it to start with, and they did away with it, trying to bring it back, and it's been going on for years. They just can't, for some reason, they can't get anybody to go with it. Most of the people that I know don't wear helmets.
You're saying you think
I
that's.
kind of feel like that should be first. Like, first we should ask motorcycle riders to do everything in their power to be safe, and then we ask other people to do everything in their power to keep them safe. I think it should always be, that person doing the things to keep themselves safe first.
Yeah, if I hear back from him, I'll make sure they try to do it again, so. Hopefully it'll
And
work
I
out.
guess my other big question is, at what point can you be fined for grass in the roadway? There's a there's some gray area there. If a little bit of grass blows out in the roadway, a stickler could come by and say there's grass in the roadway, we're gonna write you up. And I know in some places, your one photo there, for example, it looks like somebody just brush hogged everything onto the roadway. And that's much bigger, I can see where that'd be fine. But
Yeah, but
there's a lot of gray area.
process and you just happened to catch it before he got blown off.
Right, and that's the other thing. But I know if you're mowing your grass on a windy day, some of your grass is gonna end up in the road. Now, mind you, it's probably not enough to be dangerous, but it depends on, I guess, your officer and how big a stickler they are.
I think with every rule or every law, that's where they get that discretion of charging, warning, or not.
Right.
Every situation is different. So.
I've even seen it on state highways. Matter of fact, the deputy that was just here, he's retired, several years ago, he was on State Road 56 east of Hayesville on the curb. Found it on the road. It was so thick, he had to use a shovel to clean it off so a car wouldn't have an accident. So it happens a lot of places. And I've seen it, several of them that get that thick, that even a car could have a problem.
I don't know that I'd be in favor of an ordinance. I believe it's a kind of a public awareness thing. And everything needs to be done to create that awareness. And I think that's why we did the resolution last time, was just to bring awareness. I just think there's a lot of gray area there.
Okay, so we've got a couple of opinions. What's your opinion?
I feel for you. Just like the helmet law, I would really like to see everybody wear helmets. I know that they
I
don't
agree.
think they have to, but I think that, if they could prevent something serious, I think that is our number one.
Okay,
I'm not against, an ordinance of some sort.
okay. Yep, I'll give them a call and see if they do it for the state. See if they would go
I
ahead.
think that would be a good place to start.
So Commissioner Stefano, at this point, I'd be in favor of moving forward with the ordinance. It sounds like Commissioner Hofstadter wouldn't be to have a local ordinance. You would be in favor of us at least looking at it, having Mr. Schneider maybe review another county. And we can discuss it again at the next meeting when we have, could you have a preliminary for us in 2 weeks, or does it need to be a month?
No, I can have something in 2 weeks.
So we'll review it again in 2 weeks. He'll have a preliminary ordinance for us for our consideration. We can decide if we want to do it or if we don't.
Okay.
And if you're interested in attending that meeting as well, probably in a week, when she comes back, she can tell us what time we'll talk about it.
In 2 weeks.
Right, if you want.
20,
Again, I can have a draft for you in 2 weeks. I would consider discussion or consideration of adopting that prior to subsequent meeting to allow any opposition to, unless they're going to show up.
And we have to advertise because there'll be a penalty along with
That is correct, yes.
So, how about this, Ms. Morton, is there a time at the next meeting we can at least do 10 minutes of reviewing wherever we are at that time if you're at? 8:45?
Yeah.
So at 8:45 on the 21st, we'll have our next discussion on it.
okay.
Again, it won't be probably passed at that meeting, but at least we'll have a draft and we'll continue the discussion.
I'll let you know, my wife's got an appointment on that day, but I'm not sure what time it is, but go ahead and see what.
And if you are unable to make it, I don't know if you're on YouTube, but we do record all of the meetings and you can watch the discussion on there as well.
Okay.
And your paperwork?
I just gave it
Give
all
it
the
back to
stuff
you.
back. I have
Well, thank
copies
you for
us.
coming in, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it a lot.
All right,
You're welcome.
thank you.
Take care.
Sorry, here's the one my neighbor does all the time.
And
I would call that significant.
And he doesn't clean it up like 4 hours later, just sits until it goes on its own?
Now, sometimes if I blow it in the road and I come back to blow it off, 3 cars pass, it's gone.
Yeah, he doesn't do it.
But when I blow it in the road, it's not. It doesn't look anything like that.
Thank you.
If you're getting a quarter inch of it, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
Excuse me, so. All right, let's just go ahead and talk about this. It's a couple minutes early, but the St. Charles Annex, I guess it's the health department drive-through, correct, that we're talking about?
Get some more.
Okay, you go.
I drove Chase and Corbin over the last thing. Yeah, over 400 pounds.
Got this quote from
Would you say who you are, please?
Scott Hope, custodian.
Thank you, sir.
Got a quote from Tom Trarian to come fix the awning out at the health department's drive-through. It's blowing, it's real thin metal. It just keeps blowing off. I keep getting the guys out there to fix it. I know it's 6 or 7 times now. It's probably blowing pieces off of it. What, about 3 weeks ago we had it, a chunk blowing off. And the first 2 pictures I sent you was that time. I had it fixed, and this last time, last week, some more of it blew off. So what's up there now is real.
Aluminum soffit, it's way too thin.
And I think it's only nailed on one side and then latch it together on the other side and then nailed or something, I don't know. I know I had Mike out there and he wants to put up some heavier, basically barn, or pole
So
barn
this is what
side.
you want to use?
Yeah, that's what they want to use.
So they remove everything that's there and start over?
Yeah.
Piece of metal.
Yep.
So
It's just-
it just surprises me that it could fall down at all, because you would think they would be attached to one another. Each piece, that either you would lose all of it, or it would tear through, have to be so strong to tear through metal.
They said it just gets up in where it's latched together and blows it down.
It's way too thin and flexible. You get a little flex here, you get the wind there, and it's like a wind tunnel there. It just sucks it down, and then it just starts ripping it off.
So you're saying one panel that's in the very middle, it's not drilled or
It's-
riveted to the next
It's
piece?
nailed, but they pulled the nails right out of the wood, and it was so hard.
Oh, so they just went,
Yeah,
They're
they just bring some nails down. The way Mike and Blake talks, it's nailed down one side, it's latched together on the other side,
It's tongue groove.
and then it's nailed down the other side, so it gets up in where it's latched together, is the way I'm taking it.
and what's above it, just trusses? Is there anything else up there?
Yeah, trusses and we
Oh,
put
it's-
2-inch furring strips every 2 feet to nail it to.
Do we need a
Basically
roof on
truss.
that thing?
Or you can look up and it just be bare wood, 2x4s, you're gonna get birds nesting in there. And
Okay, no, I'm just asking, I don't know.
Yes, you have to have some type of roof. Well, some type of ceiling, soffit is
I
what
would
it's
think they
there.
did something, yeah.
Yeah, cause that was a dumb question. Hurt my feelings.
Then they're gonna
I'm
be-
just thinking, I'm trying to think, I don't know exactly how it's put together, so I thought I would,
Yeah, we would have birds, bats, everything up in there.
Is there any other option besides metal underneath there?
Mike said this would be a good option.
That's what we have in our building.
Yeah.
In our building, that's exactly what we put them.
They said, Blake said he puts that on a lot of garages and many things. Blake said he uses that a lot.
And they've secured it a little bit more than what's currently there now, even though they would use this?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's 9-inch screws, every 9 inches is
Okay,
screwed.
okay, that was my
Screwed
question.
every 9 inches. It's a
Okay.
big sheet. It's not just that little, it's
No,
big
it's-
sheets. That's pretty well standard for that type of stuff.
Okay,
and the existing thing, if we screwed that in, that won't help instead of nails?
what we currently have?
You'd have to screw it nailed on both sides, just not on one side.
I don't understand why it's not nailed on both sides.
Because it snaps, it's like the floor, you put the floor down, you tongue groove it, and then you,
It's not the right stuff for that ceiling.
this is the way it was engineered that way, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not the right.
It hasn't worked out.
It hasn't worked
It's
out.
too big of a span for that flimsy of a material, in my opinion. I mean, you're talking 29 feet wide. And this is aluminum, so it's.
How big is that awning?
Yeah.
29 by
60 or something like that. Long maybe?
Probably not right now.
Can't remember what he said. I think it was 60 something.
Is this gonna be some additional appropriation out somewhere, or do we have some
We'll have to
money
get
already,
it
or?
appropriated out of the maintenance fund out there.
St. Charles Maintenance Fund. The big grant goes into that for maintenance of that building.
I mean, if, Mr. Warner, do you think this is necessary and this is a good person to use in your opinion, too?
That's another reason why I'm here, like, we need to get it, remedied as soon as possible. We can't keep it shut down, because we've got WIC that uses that for their entry.
Yeah.
We've got people coming through there every day for Sharps Disposal. Our program now runs through there. We have people come through there that are on maybe disabled or mobility issue, coming to get vaccines. So COVID test kits are still administered through there, so
So it's a yes.
we really need to get it fixed as soon as possible.
So it's totally shut down now?
So there's pieces hanging. I have to go out and rip some down if we're gonna use it. Rip some pieces that are hanging.
But anyway, you're okay with this person?
He said it'd be about a month.
Is that way? Because he told me whenever I was standing there, fall. I was like,
It would.
Can't figure out.
In that one, in that doesn't allow
He said it'd be a month.
it. It's gotta be.
What's the board thinking?
I apply as one, as big as one. Right.
I mean, we have to fix it either way. If you have insurance money coming from it.
That's pretty close.
I don't know if there's insurance.
I mean, I just spent
Yeah,
500,
we told him to have.
Running back and down.
I just spent $586
Well, the other problem is that
just 2 weeks ago to fix what little section tore out. So this is probably another
I don't know where I did that.
$2,000 probably, $1,500 maybe just to fix this. Because it's a bigger section than what he fixed last time.
it's two sections. One's probably 8 by 8 sections.
You might be $2,000 just to fix.
Then the other problem is this stuff flew out and had all my vehicles underneath there, and now 2 of my vehicles are damaged now because of it too. So I can't keep having stuff let loose. The one storm I left it outside and we didn't put it right there, got hail damage. Well, we normally put them under there, just that time we just didn't get them under there. So the next storm we put them under there, this stuff lets loose and chips the windshield and puts scratches all over paint. So we need something up there that's gonna be substantial. But this, like he said, it's probably happened 6 times now, and probably the previous 4 or 5 times Cypress fixed it because they felt bad, because, it's not holding, but there's, I guess, will come a point where they gave up on it.
You think this is our best option and our
I
best
think so,
contractor?
I would prefer, maybe in this situation, you need to get it done quick, but I would prefer to see more than one tester when we do some of these things. Just so I got a better idea of market price.
Cypress put this up?
Well, they subbed it out, they were the contractor that built the awning.
Okay, I didn't know if we needed to reach out to them.
I think Mike really did.
Okay.
So I think he reached out to Universal Design just to make sure that what they did was kosher, and then Cypress subbed it out to,
Okay.
I don't know who it was, but they were the contractor that made, or accepted, you guys accepted the bid from them, they were the lowest bidder.
So it's been about, what, 4 years? 3.5 years?
It's COVID.
It's 2020, I think it was built, or 2021.
I'm okay with moving forward with, whatever the next step is to get funding to do it, or do we have, you think with funding already appropriated? Or they'll appropriate more money? So, I guess as far as it being a
So that would be
county,
until the May meeting.
we don't have some fund that we can take it out of right now.
The work can't be done until it's appropriated.
I can't sign a contract, you don't have money in place unless it's declared an emergency.
How about this, from our side, I don't know what the next steps are gonna be, but from our side, we either approve it or we don't approve it. I would be in favor of approving, just for the record too, the amount of the estimate is $9,213.88. That includes the electrical work, the metal, work, and the labor. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna replace the whole ceiling on the drive-through at the health department. So I'm in favor of it. Commissioner Hostetler, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in favor of moving forward.
Commissioner Stefan?
Yes, sir. I think we
Okay.
need to move forward
So-
and fix as soon as we can.
We give consensus on our side to move forward. If that means going to the council, getting it as an emergency because it's basically shutting down one of our essential services. So, however we need to move forward, I think give our support to do so. Throw this back.
The other question is, what do we do with the aluminum that's ripped off laying there, because that's kind of,
We're gonna haul, once we get it all down, we're gonna haul
can we put that somewhere else, if the kids are coming right past there, I don't wanna, they cut them, stuff's like razor sharp.
Can it be recycled?
it off. That's what we're gonna do
Right.
when we get it all down. I mean, there's no use taking 5
Till
pieces.
you get it moved, is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
I'm just asking if we can move it from where it's at right now, it's right by the wick door, there's kids come in and out of there every single day, and that, I mean, that stuff is like a razor, they go.
If he just moves it to the other side of the driveway, is that sufficient?
Put it on a skin out in the parking lot somewhere?
I mean, that's something you can do? Or is
Well, I
it-
can do it. I'm not saying it's not gonna go away.
I mean, there's not a whole lot there, I didn't know if we could put it in the shed or wherever we need to put it to get it out of the way. If we put it outside next door, it's probably gonna be over,
Try,
hay or whatever.
put it on a skid, make sure it's weighted down with something.
Strap it.
I just don't know where it's at right now.
Please work with Mr. Hope and find a place that's safe for it. I think that'd be better than us managing a minor detail.
Sounds good.
And again, Mr. Hope, I told the board earlier in the meeting, thank you for all the work you did on the 22nd, whenever we had that water break in the courthouse. That was, you did an excellent job all weekend. It was, I think it probably goes unrecognized because everybody could come back to work and they didn't notice it. So I mean, you did it right.
Thank
you. Thank you again. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's our last main discussion item or on the agenda.
Well, because I put on the additional appropriation for the council meeting, enable
Whatever you want.
me.
What's that?
I'm good.
Okay, yeah, you can one up. That's fine. We're gonna revisit the community crossings matching grant bids that we received earlier.
Okay.
It was early.
So reviewing all the numbers, as with the bid bonds, everything, we're all present. Everything was proper, so that was good. And I would make the recommendation to approve, to award the CalCar paving in the amount of $1,607,946.30. $1,607,946.30.
So that was under your estimate?
Yeah, so the reason for it, I was gonna give you an explanation on that as well. When I submitted to NDOT, there is a new liquid asphalt that NDOT requires for NDOT jobs. I was under the assumption that these new contractors are going to have to use that liquid asphalt. After speaking with them, talking to other counties, it's pretty well association-wide that we're gonna keep with the old liquid because majority of the contractors have it, but I gave them the option to do either or. All of these use the old liquid asphalt, so the prices came down significantly. It's a blessing and a curse all at the same time because I could have put more roads on the application if I would have used the old asphalt. We could have definitely done that, but we're getting cheaper, So it is a blessing and a curse all at the same time. I told Donnie in the fall he could apply for some roads to do in the fall for community crossing if you want.
So out of this amount, would an estimated $800,000 of the 1.5 million that we could have gotten is what will be used for these projects?
Yeah.
So in the fall, we could come back and try to get the other amount. So we had a big award, we're only going to be able to use part of it because it's not like we can say, oh, they were cheaper and add roads.
Yeah, by putting in my specs to get to use the old liquid asphalt, which is still high quality, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not state spec. State spec is a higher quality asphalt. I wouldn't say quality, it's a higher temperature difference is the main thing for this asphalt to do stuff. We've had a lot of success with the old stuff and the new stuff's a lot more expensive, so we're getting a better bang for our buck. I apologize, if I would have known to do this, the older stuff, I would have added 4 or 5 more roads and got the price up. That's what it is, so.
So you think you'll be able to make a list of what the additional roads we can go for?
Yeah, we can definitely come up with something.
Yeah, because I hate leaving any of that on the table.
Oh, I completely agree. It would be enough to do 2 significant projects, so I'd see if we can find something for you.
Okay, so now I'll make a motion that we award the contract to the low bidder of Cowtown.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
There's the bid tabs, if anybody wants to see them. Since you guys, a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to look at that right now. That's more than I can look at the moment. I'll take your word for it.
I'll copy you guys an email anyways.
Anything else, sir?
That's all I had.
All right. Okay, we have surplus items, we have 911 printers, ambulance defibrillator batteries, the recorder's office furniture, custodian had some maintenance items. So the only item out of most of the stuff that we've had here that I know of that we can reuse is a locking cabinet from the recorder's office,
She thought maybe we should put that somewhere.
and the veteran service office can use it. So we'll, if it's okay with the board, we'll move that item. Anybody opposed to that?
No.
And I'm happy to declare.
She also wanted to know, people in her office are interested in buying this small list. If we put a price on it.
What was that?
A
There's
small
a small
laminated.
laminated desk, that people are interested in buying if you put a price on it.
So does this page have everything, or this is just?
I think that's everything.
So again, I'll just share this. So again, the defibrillator battery, we've had some of those go out. The clerk's office is redoing their furniture, so that's gone. We've also some scanners. This metal fireproof cabinet with the key is the one that the veteran service office will use. And then we had some trimmers, weed eaters, blowers for the maintenance.
They're electric and they've never been used in 16 years.
Okay. There's some more, there's 4 printers from that one there. So I would, I'll make a motion that we approve declaring these items surplus, and they may be disposed of as the offices see fit as appropriate. As an exception to that, the metal fireproof cabinet should go to the veteran service office, and the laminated desk, the high offer on that, we'll take that. That's unfair to the board?
Yes.
Did you keep up on all of that?
I'm trying.
Are you done? Got a second?
That's my motion, and I'm finished.
Okay, second.
Are you moving that to their office or downstairs?
We moved to his office, I guess. That's got to agree with that.
Sell the desk to the highest bidder by the end of,
End of the week. Didn't really make any difference to me. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Astro door access point.
I presented to the council and they approved the funding for everything on the list. I don't have the list, I don't have it with me.
I've got a copy of all this if you.
Is that the updated one, or just the old one?
That's the old one.
So weren't you waiting for an update?
I did get an updated one and I needed $3,000 some odd dollars and the council said to go ahead and proceed. They wanted us to keep up with it and to actually put it in place. So at the next meeting, they're gonna do the additional appropriation for the rest of the access control and the maintenance fee of that.
So we had a majority of our board in favor of both proposals, correct? So the door proposal and of the camera updates.
Yeah, the camera update and the two that went with the machine to view it, that's all in the first proposal. They've approved all that money, and you guys approved that. The door access and the maintenance was the two that we had left over. And that increased, and this number back here increased.
Second page,
The annual fee, those,
Right, so this, Overall, it went up to
It went up
$11,000 or something
Yeah,
total.
and it was like 3,000 some odd dollars, and they said they want me to appropriate that for the next meeting, and then they will approve it.
So what action does this board have to take?
That we can go ahead and do the door access. And, because so I can sign the contracts, once I get that money this next meeting.
I thought we did that last time, but
You guys tabled the door access, Nick wanted more time.
So let's take a motion. Do we want to allow let's just reread what it is so we're all back on the same page. Pro Data Key Access Control node in the basement IQ technical room. It was set up to handle 100 doors, so I guess it's for these. Is that correct? So they will have to update, they'll use the existing access cards and electric door hardware, but they are going to change out 18 door access things. I don't know what they call them, prox readers is what we've called them, where you get your card close to it and it takes the action. And also, we're gonna be paying for cloud service to make it so that someone remotely can manage the timing of the locks of the various doors.
Anybody can log into it, it'll be all on the cloud, it won't be on a PC.
And did I fairly represent that that's what we're getting? Okay.
There will be an annual fee that you have to pay yearly, like everything else has an annual fee.
I think I've got that wrote on the front, unless it's changed.
96.
It was a little bit more, but I got a new
Manuals
quote. I got a new quote after I went to press, that's why.
It's a little bit higher than this even. She has 96, 45, and 2106.
It could be a little bit more than that, I'll have to go, I thought I brought it, I didn't.
The setup will allow centralized access control management via the app or internet login.
No,
They can
because
do
the annual
updates
cost
to the
was
system.
2106.
Yeah, I think it was more than that.
Right, this was before, yeah.
They can do updates to the system remotely, they can add, subtract, close doors immediately, I mean, sure.
Okay, so I think I'm still opposed to it. Are you in favor of it?
Yes.
Okay, and Commissioner Stefanovo, you're in favor of it?
Yes.
Want to make a motion, please?
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the, Astro Door access quote. Oh boy, what was our total? We just talked
I'll
about.
have to give it to you. I
Okay.
thought I grabbed the folder, but I didn't.
Maybe you can say not to exceed $12,000.
Well, those both of these, right? Or wait a minute.
The other one.
Not
The
to
other one
exceed,
you already did.
yeah, not to exceed $12,000.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve, a second. Is there any other discussion on it?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Aye, motion carries. Anything else from Astro? Okay. And the sheriff vehicle, the Explorer thing, was that just to have the discussion?
I just needed in the minutes that you guys approved trading it off.
Does anybody have so again, the sheriff's department has an Explorer that is the sheriff himself's vehicle. He was discussing trading it in for a different vehicle that doesn't have. He says that the Explorers have mechanical problems of some sort and that it was traded in for a different vehicle. Anything over and above the trade-in value would be paid for out of their commissary fund. Anybody have any opposition to that?
No.
Okay. Yep, I don't have any opposition to that either, so we just have it in the minutes that he can proceed that way. Fair enough. Northridge bond agreement updated?
The only thing on that was the bond agreement that was an exhibit to our interlocal. It got amended based upon city roads, not county roads. Just letting you guys know that that change was made. I didn't see an issue with it. It didn't impact the county side of that.
We have the same protection we had before.
Nothing has changed on our side.
Anything else from the attorney?
No, sir.
So, I guess our last meeting was when we had the health insurance discussions. That sounds right. Seems like it's been a long time ago.
Last time, and I think they're going to come in the future again. Yeah, we could think about next meeting.
So some of the things they talked about, they asked us to consider chronic case care management. Hutchins said they think that UGS is only managing the cases and claims after the fact. So that was one item. The practice of allowing a spouse to stay on a county policy, even, as a secondary policy, that was discussed. We could limit, one of the things we could do is limit spousal enrollment or add a surcharge. We also, another item that they talked about was adding an additional copay for ER usage. So I don't really have any comments other than I do think we need to do something. I don't know what that is. I sent an email to Marky because it just goes up astronomically year by year. The auditor sees it all the time in my office. And it just keeps going up, right? I mean,
You add people and you add more expenses.
but it's not just the
Part of it's aging population.
Well,
yeah, it's one thing
10% of your people drive 90% of your claims.
right. You expect that if you have 2 more employees, you're gonna spend for 2 more, but the price per employee being where it is now, where it's 20% higher than last year, that's not sustainable.
But your average per employee isn't necessarily your cost per employee.
What are we gonna do about that?
Right, well, I'm just saying, when you add 2 new employees, just, you don't
I see what you're
necessarily
saying.
add your 2 average costs to that. It's still, they might be relatively cheap compared to your average cost.
Right, we could hire a new person who's very healthy and it costs us $1,000 a year, or we could hire somebody with chronic heart disease and it's very expensive, right?
Right.
Guess I hadn't thought of it that way. I usually think in terms of averages, just.
Yeah.
You're right, though. So if we hired 3 new police officers from the academy that are young and healthy, that's probably cheaper than. We have. Yeah, right. No, I'm not saying we hire based on that, but it is a factor, or it is a cost of doing business.
So I guess what I'm getting at is, if there's 20% of our population that leads to 8% of the cost, as those people retire or, go to another job, or if those people were to retire or go to another job, our costs could go down. But doesn't mean it
Necessarily.
will. It doesn't mean it will. It doesn't mean somebody else won't, develop some chronic disease that drives the cost up.
You could have a preemie that has issues, you could have anything.
Well, that's what insurance is for, so.
Yeah.
But.
So what are your thoughts? You think stay hands off, or do you think we
No,
need to tweak, or
I think tweaking would be a good idea.
out of those ideas that, maybe I missed some too, but those are the 3 main ones that I even thought that they mentioned.
The spousal secondary, always, the one thing about, I don't necessarily mind the spouse taking it as a secondary. I have an issue that if we have a $1,000 deductible and they have a $10,000 deductible, we're gonna pay all the bills until they hit $10,000 after our deductible. I don't think that the county insurance should cover any of the spousal insurance until they've met their deductible on the spouse's insurance.
So then how does,
How do you manage that?
That's just it, I don't know.
So usually would it be,
It just doesn't seem right that their insurance doesn't pay, in a given year, they might not pay anything if they don't reach that deductible. And they're the ones providing the coverage.
But they are doing some work on behind the scenes because it has to go through there and then they have to file the claim to us, so
It's going through that process
it'll go through
first.
them first and then before
Their
it comes to
process
us.
Right, but I would be happy as the county to go ahead and file our claim with them and let them pay it, Paying the claim is still a big thing.
Right. But if the spouse has got a primary insurance, it's gonna go through that first
It'll
and
go
then
theirs,
go.
and then the employee has to
Yes.
file it through ours
Yes,
with the EOB.
yes.
So they have to do some work, but
We're paying before their insurance does, that part, the firm's in the low.
And I get what you're saying, but not in all cases though.
now, the other thing you have to kind of watch is if you raise premiums, once you hit, say you're a high claim person, once you hit yours, you're gonna get yours paid for, and other people are still paying a higher premium, but I may not use my insurance all year. And so, and the amount of money you're gonna get from raising a premium is a drop, unless you're really gonna raise premiums a lot. Because of 220 people, if you raise it, you're just not gonna make.
If we raised $1,000 an employee, we'd bring into it, what,
Right, but you're just,
$120,000 or something.
it's just a drop in, I can go through that in a week.
Right.
On claims, those high claims, you're just not gonna make the difference.
So premiums are gonna be a drop in the bucket. If you do deductibles, again,
If people don't use it, you didn't gain anything, you just didn't pay anything.
people that do use it will pay a
They'll be gone in a
additional
heartbeat.
percentage.
Right.
Let's say we shouldn't do those things necessarily, but
But if we look at it as a whole, part of it is insurance is a shared liability.
The only thing you really have to watch is recruiting. I mean, if you have nothing to give people, they're not gonna come here.
But when I look at our insurance versus some of the others that they compare to, boy, we got an awfully nice plan.
Right.
yeah, that's the part that really disturbs me. If there's a range of whatever, I think it was 17 businesses. I don't want us to be anywhere near the terrible end of it, but there's no reason we should be spending $5,000 more per employee than the second best plan.
Right.
Something isn't working, right? Because other places have aging populations and sick people, and
Right, I don't think.
that's the part that
You
disturbs
have to
me.
look at benefit plans then. Are those people at those companies getting 7-8 weeks vacation? Are they getting 10 times the salary? Are they getting, you have to look at those things too.
So, yeah, I just think it's something that we need to keep.
Maybe not 10 times, but you know what I mean?
Something,
Which is the point.
it's something
Yeah.
for us to keep in
There's
mind.
other benefits that weigh out in the end.
In some places will pay for
Long-term,
something with
short-term.
vision, with
Vision,
dental.
dental, true. HSAs, they put money into their accounts. True.
Don't match
Right, which if we had an HSA and you put people money in their account and they left, then that's their money, it's not yours anymore.
You lose it.
We let people drive their own
Ours
insurance.
is
so
matched, but if you don't use it, you lose it, including what you put in. So if I put in 500 a year in my HSA, and my company matches it, I have $1,000 to spend out of that HSA. If I spend $200, I spent $200, but I put in 500, and at the end of the year, it's gone.
Oh,
Don't ask me where
it's
it
year
goes.
after year? It's not even your life of employment?
That doesn't make sense.
So I adjust every year, but if I know one of my kids is getting braces, and it's gonna cost me $2-3 grand, I like to run it through there because it's, comes out of your tax.
So like with that, if you have a health savings account and your deductible's $1,000, whatever. So you take it out of your health savings account to pay your deductible, and then if there's anything left, you can pay part of your copay if there's a copay,
Right.
not out of it. So you can use it for anything, it's not limited.
Dental, yeah, so
Okay.
I just,
Dental and I use
I have to
this one.
scan my receipts and turn them in, and then they review them, and money goes in my account.
I thought to have two, I don't know, can we even have a health savings accounts here? I don't think we
I
can
don't know.
because we're not a high
So see,
deductible plan.
the reason I have one is
Can't
because
have one.
I don't have insurance through my company,
Right?
so I'm able to utilize the HSA.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if you have a low deductible, you can't have an HSA.
Right, we have to have a deductible at $4,000 or something, right? And then,
I feel like we almost have to tweak it a little bit every year. The last thing I wanna do is put a whole bunch of burden on the employee all at one time. I don't wanna raise the premium. Let's say we raise the premium $120 a year, so $10 a month. And we raise the deductible, and, you start throwing all these things out at once, it's too much. But we have to stay,
the other way of looking at
we
it
have to
is
follow the cost a little bit.
pull the Band-Aid off one time and then don't mess with them for 3 more years.
Right.
That's the other way of looking at it.
That's true too.
I'd almost rather don't mess with it, mess with it one time and I'll get over it. Anyway, if you have thoughts, please keep with Marky. And we'll try to figure something out. You have anything for the
I just wanna know if anybody wants to go to the Southwest District meeting. Do you want me to sign you up?
Probably not.
Okay, I just.
For the AIC, that's that.
For the AIC Southwest meeting, yeah.
That's the, where they could be.
And Honeybird.
Winner of the essay.
Oh, yeah. Mhm. Folks, I don't have anything else. Anything, we'll check around the board again. Mr. Schneider?
No, sir.
Mr. Morgan? Hostetter? Nothing. Stefano?
Nothing.
Highway? All right, we'll call the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, I wouldn't, that meeting was over.